So I was watching the World Cup opening ceremony monologue by Morgan Freeman yesterday. And what they spoke about was peace, you know what I mean? World peace, human beings living together in unity among each other, operating the world like a tent. And also observing that, everyone has their differences, but we can all agree to disagree, and we can all live together, understanding that this person, has his own beliefs and his own practices, and I have mine, and I must respect his, just as how I expect he or she to respect mine. And that seems quite simple. However, apparently some Europeans, they will not have it. And so, they went to Qatar and they still proceeded to, show their dismay that the country was selected, by any means necessary to be the host of the World Cup. And of course, Argentina, lost already, and Germany also lost, which was the next shocker. But one of the things that was notable from Germany was that they covered their mouth, because they were upset that Qatar was the host, and they wanted, to give a soft rebellion, So when they lost, it was rightfully so, because think of the atrocities that Germany brought, on many countries, that were their subordinates over the years. And for you to be going to a next man's country and demonstrating and pretending that you are this holy, set of people, and you always upheld right from wrong, it's pretty ironic, I must say, and it's also hypocritical, because many persons who have been enslaved and robbed and raped and killed over the years have not received, reparations, from a lot of the European countries. So I would think that before you try to absolve yourself of what you did to a lot of those minority countries and minority peoples, what you should do is actually give reparation. You should apologize a million times, and try to right your wrongs. I'm sorry, instead of basically, trying to point fingers at other people, while pretending that you are so holy, because the people have not forgotten, because the thing is, persons, countries, races are still suffering due to past atrocities that were meted on them. Countries are still struggling to develop themselves because their resources are already depleted and robbed by European countries. So there are many countries who would have benefited from the resources of their land right now, but they can't, because those resources were shipped away, to Europe, to develop Europe. And so these people have to be, battering and clamoring for scraps, while those same European countries hold them to the same standard at which they hold themselves, right? While they benefited from free development, free labor, but they expect these countries, to develop themselves based on merit and still compete with them efficiently and effectively. And that is so shitty, That's like me cutting off Usain Bolt's legs, and then I'm gonna say to Usain Bolt, hey, run against me this 100-meter, even though I just cut off his legs. That is obviously unfair, no matter how fast Usain Bolt is. He can't win a race against any human being with two legs if he doesn't have any, because that's the main tool, that's his main resource. So it's quite ironic that Europeans are being so self-righteous in a matter like this. And the media, oh my God, like the European media, especially the British media. No wonder why you're lagging behind right now. Instead of trying to get to know these people, immerse yourselves into the culture and understand where they're coming from, and understand that cultures are different. Many of these media houses that are based in England, to be surprised, to see that they are actually covering sports. You know, recently I heard when the FIFA leader said that, well, you know what I mean, a lot of these European countries committed atrocities against developing countries and they should look at themselves before trying to pass judgment, which is an honest, fair and factual statement. And I heard a British media journalist, well, what is supposed to be a journalist, you know what I mean? Because journalists are supposed to be fair and factual and show two sides of a story. But this motherfucker took the microphone and said that is the biggest bullshit that he has ever heard. So you're gonna tell me that Europeans going to Africa and other countries in the Caribbean, you know what I mean, and in the Americas and enslaving people and stealing their resources, and the results are obvious to this day. That is the biggest bullshit that you have ever heard. Just by saying that you should have lost any kind of credibility, any kind of degree, any kind of education accomplishment that you have, you should have lost it just for making that statement. You know what I mean? You have no credibility whatsoever. And you can see where they ignored the message that was in the speech at the opening ceremony, which asks for peace, which asks for respect. They ignored it, but still continued to bring up bullshit that, oh, you know, people died while they were making the theater, you know, for the matches. People died while they were constructing the various places that they're hosting the World Cup. However, that's common knowledge that people die when things are being created. People die when they're creating the Twin Towers. People die when they're creating roads. People die when they're creating sculptures. You know what I mean? It happens. It's a part of construction. It's one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. But to use the power of your media and to make it seem as though this is the only thing that has ever been created, you know what I mean, that has caused loss of life is very mischievous. You know what I mean? What about those people who died during the Middle Passage? Have you taken accountability for that? You know what I mean? Have England given reparations to Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica, and all those countries? You know what I mean? Have reparations been given to the African community for those people who were displaced and killed while working on the farms? You know what I mean? To develop European countries. Have reparations been given? No, I don't think so. And therefore, it is quite ironic. It's quite mischievous. And it's quite hypocritical. I'm out.